Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and today I'm going to be doing a comparison between the not yet released, but will be soon enough, Flashforge Creator 5 and the Snapmaker U1. And the Snapmaker U1 is currently like the hottest multi-tool head 3D printer on the market. It's also like one of the only ones that's in the somewhat affordable category, but Flashforge is trying to change that. With right now, if you were to put down a reservation for this printer, it would lock you down into a price of $649, and the Snapmaker U1 currently costs $899. So there's quite of a bit of a gap in between them as far as price goes. But when I first did my live stream about this printer, I showed off how you would have to load and unload filament, and some people have wondered how that is in comparison to the Snapmaker U1. So this is what I'm going to do. In this video, I am going to unload some filament first, pretty much at the same time between these two printers, and then I'm going to load some filament so that you can get an idea of what the process is like between the two, which one's faster, which one seems like it's more convenient for you, and that is what this video is for. So I'm going to roll around to the front of the printer, and I have all of the rows of filament, all 4 spools of filament are currently loaded in the Snapmaker U1. On the Flashforge Creator 5, I have the white and the black filament loaded. The orange and the yellow on the back, they are not loaded because I just wanted to keep them unloaded for the next portion of this comparison. But let's just see how long this is going to take, all right? So both of them are loaded. Trust me, I'm not trying to deceive anybody. So over here on the Snapmaker U1, first thing that I am going to do is click on all the different filaments. And since orange is over here and it's easy for me to access it, I'm going to click unloading mode. I am going to hit the orange filament, and then I will press unload when the time comes. If you've got a 3D printing or CNC project that you're working on and you need some place to source the parts, check out justway.com. At justway.com, ideas come to life through professional 3D printing and CNC machining services that's built for engineers, creators, and innovators. They offer rapid prototyping and full-scale production. JustWay delivers high-quality parts using advanced materials and industry-grade equipment, all with competitive pricing and fast turnaround times. So whether you got an idea or a part that you want made, JustWay can bring it to life. More info in the description. On the Creator 5, there is no automatic loading or automatic unloading. If I were to go to the filament reel, and I'll go to this white filament and I hit unload, all it does is tell me how to unload it. It says, please press the cutter and pull the filament out of the extruder. All right, so let's get these started. We'll see which one's faster. We'll see how it works out. So orange filament, unload. That's doing its thing. Let's unload this white filament here. Got to squeeze the cutter. It cuts the filament. Then I pull it out. All right, so there we go. So in the time that it took for me to just unload this filament from the Creator 5, the Snapmaker is just starting that process, and it is currently heating up at the moment. Now, you know, if I wanted to, I could just go ahead and unload the rest of the filaments. Like I said, the black one is already loaded. If I wanted to, I could just cut it and unload that, you know. And if these two on the back, the yellow and the orange, were loaded, I could have just cut those and unloaded those as well. And basically what that means is in the time that it takes for the Snapmaker U1 to unload one spool of filament, I could unload all 4 spools of filament on the Creator 5, because it does not require any heating up and it does not require any homing before it does it, because it is all manual. So it's still unloading the filament right there. It is not yet done. I'm just going to let this roll through. I'm not going to do any jump cuts or anything like that. And we are still waiting. Okay, it looks like it's finished. All right, all tool heads unloaded, manually collect the filament. All right, I'm just gonna come back around And then we can start to unwind, because even though this does do the automatic filament loading, you do have to, manually unload it just like you would with the Creator 5. All right, so there you go. I'm going to stick this in there just so that it won't get tangled. So that is the unloading process. But what about the loading process for these printers? So I'm going to do that now, but first, just to be fair, I'm going to take out this filament waste basket for the U1. It is completely empty. There is nothing on the inside. So that was the unloading procedure. Now we're going to check out the loading procedure. Now I did let the tool head cool down back to room temperature. And then I also had the U1 detach the tool head. So currently on both of these printers, no tool head is attached. Okay. So we're going to do the loading process. We're going to see how that works out. Now, the thing is with the Snapmaker U1, when you want to just put filament into the printer, it does it automatically. So this part's not going to be timed because, well, the Snapmaker is just naturally going to be faster, right? So I'm just going to roll this back under here, and I'm going to insert the filament into this slot. Just stick it in a little bit, and it takes it. It goes up and it's going down, but it's stopping short of actually going into the tool head. So it's not actually loaded up. It's just in the holding stage. With the Flashforge Creator 5, I'm just going to use that same white filament. I just have to manually stick it up through this channel and just feed it all the way down to the tool head, but I also have to slightly squeeze this lever and then push it up a little bit more and then let the lever go. So do like that, push it up a little bit more, let it go. And now it's not loaded, but it is just in that waiting period, that holding stage. We're going to see how long it takes to load both of these. So I'm going to go to the loading mode for the U1. I am going to go to the loading mode for the Creator 5, and I'm going to see if I can hit these at the same time, and we'll see which one's faster. 1, 2, 3, load. Okay, that was a bit of a jump cut, and I'll tell you why and what just happened. Now, you might notice that this tool head is a little bit further out than it was in the previous clip, and that's because when I loaded the filament in the U1, I forgot to tell it what filament type it was. So when I pressed load, it didn't want to load because it needed to know what the filament was, and then the Creator 5 started heating up its hot end in preparation to load. So when I realized that was happening, I stopped the Creator 5. Nothing was loaded into the tool head at that moment, and I let it cool down again. All right, but this time I'm going to do things correctly. I'm gonna go back to the U1 and I'm going to tell it what filament this is. This filament type is just some basic PLA, and the color is going to be orange, just like that. Save. Okay, so now I'm going to hit loading mode. I'm going to select the 3. Then over here on the Creator 5, I'm going to go to the filament settings here. We were going to do number 1, and then there's the load button there. All right, so we're going to do it right this time. 3, 2, 1, load. And I have to hit next on the Creator 5 in order for everything to start working. Now they're both working. You see they're moving. They're doing what they got to do, homing and doing all kinds of stuff. So let's just see how long this is going to take. So what the U1 is doing right now is just trying to figure out where it is in space. So the U1 has already grabbed the filament. It is pulling it in. It's heating, and it's going to start the loading procedure. Now, the Creator 5 just grabbed the white filament, and it's going to start doing its thing. Now, with the Creator 5, when it puts this filament in is going to start purging. So I'm also going to take that purge material and I'm going to weigh it to see how much that material weighs. And then whatever the U1 also decides to put inside of its poop bucket, I am going to weigh that as well. So let me come around to the front and see how we're doing. It is extruding the filament from tool head number 3. See that the Creator 5 has finished its loading process. It reached up to a temperature of 250 degrees Celsius. The U1 is still purging the old filament, and then the Creator 5 just asked me, has the filament been extruded? I say yes, and now that process is complete. We're still waiting on the U1. It is purging filament into the bucket right now. And now the automatic loading has been successful, and then I just hit done. All right, so the Creator 5 loaded all of the filament first, and now I am bunching up the stringy filament that the Creator 5 had pooped out, and I'm just gonna ball it up as best as I can so that it can be as compact as possible. And I'm going to weigh it, and I'm also going to do the same thing with the Snapmaker U1. So here's the poop bin from the U1. It's got just a single solitary little piece of filament poop inside of it. Let me run over here. I'm gonna grab my scale. So I got a scale right here, and I'm gonna turn this on. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna put the lid on top and then zero it out. And this is going to be weighed in grams. All right, so first, here's the poop from the Creator 5. So let me make sure it's a little bit more compact. Put it in there. It says 0.4 grams. I'm going to try it again. 0.4 grams. I'm going to do it 3 times, third time's the charm. 0.4 grams. All right, so now let's take the single poop. Oh, I still got it from the U1. Put that on there. 0.2 grams. Let's weigh it again. 0.2. And one more time. 0.2. All right, so 0.2 grams difference between the purge material when you load filament. So if you were curious about that initial poop purge and the automatic loading procedure versus the manual loading and unloading procedure of both of these printers, this is what's going to happen. So just a little bit more purge waste on the Creator 5 at the moment. It's also more messy because it poops down on the front of the bed in long strings as opposed to bunching everything up in these tight coils. So the U1 is definitely more convenient from that perspective. I think that the Creator 5 could definitely use something like this in order to catch that waste. But that's how things are currently. And remember, this printer is not yet available to purchase as I record this. And I do know that Flashforge is listening to the feedback from the audience and different creators that they sent this to early. So hopefully they will listen to those things and maybe add some improvements to the ones that they send out to the general public when they are ready. So that's going to do it for this video. I will come back and just run some more comparisons in future videos between the U1 and the Creator 5. What kind of comparisons are you interested in seeing? Let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to get those out. So that's going to do it for now. Till next time, take care of yourselves and I'll speak to you soon.